So Undermine Slayer is one of the hardest bosses in the game, requiring gear costing hundreds of millions of coins. And for the small percentage of people skillful enough to do them, it provides a great reward as their drops are highly sought after. Because of this, many players strive to kill voiglooms. But not only do you need gear, you also need skill. This boss poses a final challenge, and the ability to do them shows them that you have mastered this game. So the admins have decided to release some new balance changes into this game, and these balance changes affect a lot of things, including Enderman Slayer. So let's talk about a few of the notable things. First off, the Endstone sword was nerfed. You know, that's understandable. Being invincible is kind of OP. Next, they decided to buff the Undermine Slayer Katanas. I suppose that needed a buff, because they did nerf one for all, so I suppose that's reasonable. But besides that, they also did a small buff to Final Destination armor. All they did was add a small little stat boost, increasing our damage by 100% against Enderman. Just a small change. A small change that just so happened to increase our damage by just a little bit, you know? Now let me introduce you to the new and improved Final Destination armor. If you're worried about not dealing enough damage to a voidgloom, think again, because with Final Destination, not only do you get 200% extra ferocity, you also deal an extra 100% more damage to voidgloom. Now, you can do the same damage as a full glass cannon setup. And if you are worrying about dying to a voidgloom, think again, because this armor set gives you defense against Enderman. Even then, let's just buff the mana a little bit too, so I don't have to worry about that either. Oh, and some attack speed, and add some strength, and well, you get the point. Final Destination is broken. So today, I'm gonna test it out, and we're gonna see how good it is compared to a glass cannon setup now. So I'm here in the end, and I'm gonna test out the damage differences between all the different setups that I've used. So yeah. With our full glass cannon setup, we're doing, what, 3.6 mil, 3.4, 3.4, so 3.4, 3.6, something around there. So if I switch over to a full voidgloom set, and I do this, 2.1. If I shift, 2.8, 2.9, 2.9. And this is with an E-drag, so it's actually only like 1 mil less. But anyway, we're not here to test my damage. What we're here to see is the fact that the admins nerfed the Endstone sword by 50%, because apparently being fully invincible during a boss is apparently OP. Something like that. But anyways, I'm here to test this out. So this boss is spawning. Does the same amount of damage as before. But now let's see if the Endstone sword even does anything against this health. I can see I'm definitely taking a lot more damage than before. It's actually the first boss I'm doing after coming back from my break of killing Enderman, but I think I'm just gonna have to Hyperion before I Endstone sword, because well, there's no point in not to, because you don't need 500 mana to get the full invincibility anymore. But I really don't need that much mana to even do this boss anymore, because, well, you only need 250 to activate the full potential of the Endstone sword. So it's basically like you don't really need to do anything. You don't even need to sweat. Okay, I'm just gonna throw actually. But now I can actually clutch bosses again. It's actually a lot easier to do bosses now that you don't have to worry about getting 500% mana. But anyway, they didn't just change the Endstone sword, they also changed voidgloom armor. So right now, I'm gonna test it out and we're gonna see how much of a difference this is compared to the old voidgloom armor where I was doing like 800k damage. So yeah, let's go. But anyway, I'm gonna be using a baby Yeti for this test because, well, most people don't have an Ender Dragon. And if they don't have an Ender Dragon, well then, they probably gotta use a baby Yeti instead. So I'm just gonna see how much less damage I'm doing. I'm still doing 1.7 million. But I gotta keep in mind my talisman are all recomped. I'm also taking 0 damage at all. you'd probably like use an ornate and get away with this, honestly. I'm still doing a decent amount of damage, honestly. Well, I did take a little bit of damage there. But this is really easy compared to what it was like before. Like, you might need to use, like, I don't know, whatever it's called, Wand of Restoration. But besides that, you take no damage. You get infinite mana, so you don't even need to worry about placing down an Overflux or anything, because Overflux is basically only used for the mana, at least in the later game. And this setup is just, I take no damage, oh my god. And I killed it. Okay, that was a slower boss, but the fact that I can do it this easily with a baby Eddie pet, and basically just an Atom Split and a Suspicious Scylla, the admins just decided to make this boss 10 times easier. I'm just gonna put some Final Destination voiglooms in the background, and now I'm gonna tell you my thoughts on this update. So this update, well, it just basically killed the Warden Helmet. The Warden Helmet, the only purpose was for voiglooms, because basically Warden Helmet, you really didn't need it for anything else, because anything else it was basically overkill. Which is why not only have the Warden Helmets drops, but that's just made Revenant tier 5s not profitable basically at all anymore. They're about like 200 mil right now for a Warden Heart. But not only that, it's also just plummeted the voigloom drops. So now there's really no reward that you feel just by being able to complete a voigloom tier 4. I suppose it does make the drops cheaper, such as the Terminator, and it makes everything a lot more accessible for other players. But not only does that just create a few more Terminons, if you know what I mean, but well, yeah. Because now, before cores were like 600 mil, now they've dropped down to like 300 mil. But not only has it dropped the prices, it just completely outclasses. Not only has it dropped all the prices, it's also made one of the best armor sets for Voidgloom. It's basically worth it. You don't need it anymore. You wanted to get a Tux chestplate? Well, it's really no point anymore. Those people who invested what 75, 100 mil into a Tux chestplate, and then they realized that full Final Destination is just so much better and so much less risky. It kind of feels bad just spending all that money, doesn't it? You can just do Undermine without that setup. What did it cost? Warden Helmet, what, 300 mil before, Tux chestplate 400 mil, 100 mil, so it's 400 mil, plus like 2-Force Necron, Ender Dragon, whatever. It's like 450 mil for the armor set alone. And now you can just spend like 10 mil on a measly Voidgloom Final Destination set and just completely override that 450 mil that you spent. You don't need it anymore. It's just gone. But not only that, they've also just buffed the Atom Split, so not only take 12% less damage, which doesn't really affect many people. The most controversial thing I feel like is gotta be the Voidgloom Final Destination armor. And then Endzone Sword nerf, I suppose. But you could take so many more risks using Final Destination armor. It's more tanky, you deal like 500k less damage, and you can just tank through the hits phase. You don't really need any kind of strategies to really do the boss anymore. All you need to do is just stab it, and it's become more mundane. It's starting to turn into a Revenant tier 5 boss. Just hit it a couple times and you win. This boss just changed. All you gotta do, hit it, heal. There's no complex strategies of timing your Endstone Sword, your Pigment Sword, doing the Soul Whip, because you don't need any mana anymore either. Because this setup just gives you that much mana. The only reason people really use the Tux chestplate is because it actually gave a lot of mana. And now you can just use full Final Destination, and you get like 2,000 mana combined with the Atom Split. So you can basically take a 10 mil setup, compare, and it basically just compares to a 450 million coin setup. And that's why I think Enderman is kind of not in a good state right now. Anyways, if you do disagree with me, tell me why in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions about it, but I'm just not a big fan about this. I'm just glad I got my Undermine Slayer grind over with. glad I got the core and the Terminator, and I can just be done with Enderman. So yeah, that's all I have for today. If you did enjoy, please do subscribe or something, I don't know. Subscribing would be nice. I need clout and views and all of the views. Okay, yeah, I'll stop. Okay, that's gonna be all for today. Bye.